Greetings, y'all. Guess what it's time for? A Coochie Talk. It is Coochie Talk number 6, and we are going to speak on everything menstrual cycle, everything moon phase, everything about the time that you start bleeding. And I have a few questions from my Instagram that people have asked that I will answer at the end of the video. I was inspired to make this one because, one, I was like itching to do another Coochie Talk, but I didn't really know what topic I wanted to get into. And then a few months ago, during my Present and Honest challenge, when I connected with a few other women, I created a graphic about the white moon cycle, the red moon cycle, the purple and the pink moon cycles after learning more about them myself and seeing, where I fell into that. So I was like, I think I should make a video about the importance of why we should even know about these things and how they help us tap into our own intuition, our own healing, our own introspection, and all of that. And outside of just the moon cycles, even the phases of the menstrual cycle, because I'm learning more about them, and it's been very impactful on how I can plan my whole life around my cycle and have it be just optimizing my efficiency through knowing my cycle. And actually, I think I'm going to name this one know your coochie, know your womb, know your mood. I have my notes here, so if you see me referencing, that's what I'm referencing. I'm going to start actually with talking about the menstrual cycle. Yeah, I didn't even do an introduction. So, because clearly the womb took precedence. It's Tanaya TP, the perspective dealer, or the perspective, and I'm here to talk coochie with you. It's so fun to be that, not embarrassing, but it's fun to be me. It's so fun to be myself. I just want to talk a little bit in general about the connection to the womb and how important it is for you as a woman to know your womb and to know your cycles and to know what's going on within so that you can optimize what you are creating on the outside. Literally, your womb holds so much intelligence. When anyone, man, woman, whatever, when someone is entering our wombs, depending on what your sexual preference is, that ain't my business, they are entering heaven. We are giving them the gateway to heaven right here on earth. And you have to know that and embody that when it comes to what you're eating, the people that you're around, the things that you're listening to, whether it be music, TV, other people, you know what I'm saying? It's creative water down here. This is the sacral. This is the seat of our creation, the seat of our creation. I'm getting chills, all right? So why would you not want to get to know that place a little better? Why? I would like to just take away all the stigma and the nonsense that has been thrown on the womb, thrown on the menstrual cycle, so that women can really take their power back and having sovereignty in what they think about their womb, how they express through their womb, being more conscious of the people that we are allowing inside of our wombs, even the things, right? When it comes to how birth control interacts with the hormones, and some of them are like NuvaRings. You got the injections that sometimes get lost inside the body. I understand that that's a worst case scenario, but our hormones are so sacred, and our womb is so sacred. It's so sacred. Now, I come from, in my teenage years, having this diagnosis thrown on me of, what is it called? Polycystic ovarian syndrome, when no one ever did hormone testing on me. They saw that I was having 6 menstrual cycles a year as a teenager and was like, oh yeah, this is definitely PCOS, when it could have been a fluctuation of hormones that were stemming from a mother wound, stemming from so much, honestly, but they didn't want to tap into that. They wanted to give me a medical diagnosis. So we'll talk more about medical diagnosis and mood disorders and things like that at the end, because that is pertaining to one of the questions that someone asked me. I'm gonna stop chatting and I'm going to go into the menstrual cycle. If you don't know, then the menstrual cycle is broken down into 4 different phases. We have the menstrual phase, we have the follicular phase, we have the ovulation phase, and then we have the luteal phase. 4 different ones. So let's go into that, right? Your first day of your cycle, I got so excited. The first day of your cycle is going to start the menstrual cycle, right? And that can last 1 to 3 days, 1 to 5 days, 1 to 6 days, 1 to 7 days. I don't want to talk about what's normal. From what I've read, I'll say that they say a normal cycle is anywhere between 27 and 34 or 35 days. So don't quote me on that. But in menstruation, you are bleeding, right? You're shedding the uterine lining, and that is why it's important to shed that every month. Otherwise, when lining builds up, it can make for, cancerous environments when you have too many tissues and they're multiplying and multiplying. So they're shedding. And outside of that, it is our sacred, divine offering. We offer our blood every month. Can a man say that? Doesn't matter. We're not here to separate men and women. We love both because both are needed and both are sacred and both are divine. Yeah, shutting the uterine lining because there is no pregnancy. And this is the time when estrogen and progesterone are at their lowest. If you don't know, estrogen and progesterone are hormones. So yeah, I know that this contributes to low energy, right? If your progesterone and your estrogen are dropping, it's going to contribute to you having lower energy. You're losing blood, you're losing minerals. And I don't even really want to say losing because it has to come out, but just for the sake of what we're saying, for lack of better terminology right now, you're losing blood, you're losing minerals, and you're shedding. So this is a good time for soaks and hot baths and sitting there with your herbal, putting some herbs and some bath salts inside of your water and letting yourself just soak and letting yourself relax, all right? Even putting some flowers in there to lift the vibration because you are a flower. Okay. If you can, I would opt for having someone else do the cooking and cleaning and, you know, all the other activity, keeping up with stuff, the household, when it comes to maybe the first 3 days of your cycle, if not the whole time, whether you are in pain or not, you're going through it. You're going through something beautiful. You're going through a beautiful initiation. And like I said, it shouldn't be a time where you're doing too much. So relax and rest. This is a time to rest, reflect, and to release. It is a time of introspection, not a lot of outer movement during the menstrual cycle. After the menstrual cycle, our energy starts to rise during the follicular phase, which is going to be, let's say, day 6 or 7 to 14, depending on, like I said, how long your menstrual cycle is. The follicular phase is going to start when the menstrual cycle ends. So the uterine lining starts to thicken, and the lining is rebuilding itself after the shedding that it did a couple days ago. So the growth of follicles in the ovaries is going to be stimulated by the estrogen. And this means that an egg is maturing during this time, right? Follicles, follicular, things are growing. Here, the energy levels will start to increase. Your estrogen starts to rise, and this hormone, it boosts mood, it boosts energy, it boosts brain functioning. So we start to feel a little bit better. We start to feel more like ourselves during this follicular time. Think energetic, optimistic, creative. And this is a good time for brainstorming and planning. Like, this is when you can get into your bag and bounce off ideas with yourself instead of the menstrual time, which is literally just for rest and release. This is the time, okay, let's think about some stuff. Let's begin some new projects. Inside of the body, you're growing follicles, like I was saying, and you can even start the growth of something new on the outside too. So this phase lasts until the first day of ovulation. Now, ovulation is likely everyone's favorite time because that's when you have the most energy. The energy peaks, and then outside of estrogen peaking, you get a boost of testosterone too. So an egg is released from the ovary and moves down the fallopian tubes into the uterus. So like I was saying, you have high estrogen here, which is going to boost the sex drive, and it's even going to increase your verbal skills. Like, it's going to give you a nudge to that. This spike of testosterone is going to increase your confidence, and it's going to give you more energy. So this high energy time is when you can mingle, when you can travel, when you can go out and explore, because your energy it's a match for it. Your energy is a match for it. You can handle all that. It's receptive. So you're going to be more vibrant, more social, and physical activity is definitely a yes. I'm pretty sure your best workouts are during your ovulation cycle, your ovulation phase. Yes, and that's also the time when women tend to get like real primal when it comes to what they want, because the body is like, get me pregnant. Yeah. There's that. People even start looking better, all right? We have my least favorite, I don't want to say my least favorite, but probably everyone's least favorite phase, which is the luteal phase, when you start to feel grumpy, everything irritates you. It's like, someone breathes at the wrong volume and you're disgusted and you want to get away from them and you want them to shut up. Or even they eat too loud. Anything that's just like, you get real irritable during the luteal phase. What is happening here? I meant to discuss the ovulation phase and how long it lasts. So if follicular is day 6 or 7 to day 14, then ovulation would be days 15 to 18 or 15 to 17/18. So luteal phase would be day 18 or 19 up until your menstrual cycle. So it'll be day 18 to 28 or 28 plus. So 28 plus just means some people wait longer. It might be day 35 or it might be day 33. And then 34, your menstrual cycle starts, which will actually make it day 1 again. You starting to see how the cycle flows. In luteal phase, the uterine lining is thickening to prepare for a possible pregnancy. So our energy begins to decrease, progesterone is rising, estrogen drops, And lower serotonin is present too. That's one of the happy hormones. So this might make you sluggish, like I was saying, it might make you irritated. And if there's no pregnancy, then your hormones level drop to release the unfertilized egg and the lining that your beautiful uterus has built up for it. In this phase, you'll want to start slowing things down, being more mindful in every way, but especially within yourself and your doings. This would be a good time to complete the things that you've already started, but it is not a good time for new projects or lots of physical activity. So if you are planning your life around your cycle, then obviously you will want to do more things when it comes to your follicular and ovulation phase because the energy is higher, and do less things when it comes to the luteal phase and the menstrual cycle because it's a different time. And honestly, if you're luteal phasing and you're at a big event, it's just not in support of you. It's just really not that much in support of you. So I'll say that. We have hormones and that's just how it works. So I wanted to create this, what is it called? Mnemonic device. When I was younger and we learned the directions like north, east, south, and west in order to keep the order proper. Never eat soggy waffles, right? North, east, south, and west. So I wanted to do the same thing for the menstrual cycle, which is MFOL. MFOL, my flow optimizes life, because it does. It does. Your flow optimizes life, and you can take charge and make it more optimal. Make it work for you. Make your flow work for you. Make life work for you more. It's already conspiring with you. It's already in deep relationship with you, a very loving relationship. But you can even show yourself more love by planning around these things. Planning around these things. Like, life has made it so natural for women to deny themselves of rest, of introspection, like, or even just honoring our hormones. It's real. It's real. It's real, it's real, it's real, it's real. Since I've talked about the menstrual cycle, now I'm going to focus on actual menstruation, like the day that we start our blood, which is going to have to do with the white moon cycle, the red moon cycle, the purple moon cycle, and the pink moon cycle. Now, I created a PDF download of the information that I'm about to share with you so that you can have it to yourself. Isn't that so lovely? You can have it to yourself, and whenever things shift for you, when you come into a new moon cycle, then you can see what questions to ask yourself, and it's good stuff that we're about to get into. So let's get into it. The white moon cycle is going to be the women who are bleeding with the new moon. You start bleeding either 3 days before or 3 days after the new moon. This has you in the white moon cycle, and you will ovulate during the full moon. So this energy is in tandem with the natural flow of the earth. When the moon is dark, you bleed and you go inward. As we said, the menstrual cycle is about introspection. Okay, so at the full moon, it's bright and it's energized, just as your energy, right? Because we talked about ovulation being that high energy point. Full moon is a high energy point. So you are ovulating, you see what I'm saying, in natural nature with the rhythms of the moon, as we women do so well. Every woman, every single woman is whatever people want to consider witch. We all have power. We all have deep intuitive notions. We are all magic. Like I said, the womb is the gateway to heaven on earth. So as soon as you recognize that, baby. So it's sometimes called the mothering cycle. However, it is not just human life that is brought into creation. There are creative expressions just waiting to be born. And this is the time. This would be you thinking of your body as a mirror for Earth's fertility. The inward focus replenishes and deepens the emotional, mental, and spiritual energy. And since this is the energy of conception, think collaborations and creations if you're in that white moon cycle. I will save the reflection questions for you to look at on the PDF download. Yeah. I'll give you one question. One important question is, what can I let go of to make space for new in my life? What can you let go of? You can think about that in the white moon cycle, because in order to create and to bring anything in, you're going to need to release some stuff to make room. Do some clearing out, all right? In the red moon cycle, this is when you are bleeding with the full moon, that high energy point, and ovulating with the new moon, that introspection point. I have seen this associated with the red witch, or women in society who tend to be provocateurs that carry seductive and enchanting energy. Their sexuality is used for more than procreation. It is a source of empowerment. This cycle is connected to the dark feminine, which is associated with wisdom keepers, midwives, medicine women who aren't afraid to access different realities in order to be of service to others. So this energy is full of strength, self-reflection, leadership, and inspiration. This is when you go inside yourself to bring it out for others, okay? The outward self-actualized energy looks like empowerment for other women and other communities. The red witch thing just hints at how this energy can be intimidating to others who haven't fully actualized their own dark feminine power, or even balanced that feminine and masculine energy. And some people kind of have it mixed up about what the dark feminine is and what she represents. So I think this will be a good time to tap into that. When I was using my archetype cards, I'm actually in the red moon cycle right now, and they said that what's at my heart right now is the crone. If you don't know about the triad, is that what it's called? But like that 3-phase feminine thing where it's like the maiden, the mother, and the crone, which is that older woman wisdom that people can really be intimidated by because nothing really phases her. She's not really surprised by much that's happening because she has an anchor in knowing about the universe. I can go into that deeper. It's kind of just like you start to get out of this whole labeling of good and bad and right and wrong and this and that, because you know that everything is everything and everything is connected. And that really does resonate with me and my whole being, even before I was in this red moon cycle. But now I'm so much more comfortable being seen. And like, if you think this about me, good for you. You're thinking about me. You're giving me energy. That's beautiful. And using my voice to really express and share for others, right? I'm in this cycle and I'm making a Coochie Talk about the menstrual cycle, about the hormones, about how we really need to tap more into ourselves and being more empowered by knowing more about our wombs. It's that time. One little sneak peek question from here is, what emotional and or physical sensations are present in my body, and how can I acknowledge and address them? Because by going into the body, you are tapping into you're just tapping into ancestral wisdom. Our body is one of the most intelligent devices, if not the most intelligent device here, which is why people are trying to artificially create what is inside the human body. And they can't, no matter how hard they try, because we are really the blueprint. This human body has been here through generations. And when I say that, it's like I may be in this flesh this time, but in previous lifetimes, I was still inside of a body and I still carry that wisdom. And then I was also inside of my grandmother's grandmother since the beginning of time, right? Because we're born with all the eggs that we're ever going to have. So I was inside many lifetimes ago. Let's move on to the pink moon cycle. Oh, like I was saying, the energy of the moon is like 3 days before and 3 days after. So if you are a red moon bleeder, or if you are in the red moon cycle, then again, you would start bleeding the day of the full moon, 3 days after, or 3 days before. Now, when you are in the pink moon cycle, you're going to bleed between full moons. You bleed between the full moons. So this is going to be after those 3 days. And bleeding in between full moons is going to be the waxing moon. You can honestly just Google what phase the moon is in, but I use time passages because it also taps into the astrology, and it tells me the sign that the moon is in, as well as if it's in a crescent, if it's waxing, if it's waning, all of those type of things. So get you one of them because it's telling you about you. When I say one of them, I mean one of them apps. Or just use Google, it's free, right? ChatGPT even. So the waxing moon is when the moon is growing into a full moon. It's getting pregnant with the energy, okay? With the moon growing bigger and bolder, it aligns with your boost of physical vigor and enthusiasm. It's given, you're ready to take risks since you've been resting, right? If you're coming from that new moon cycle of, if you've been following me, then you feel that energy without even the words of me saying that. It's time to come out of the shadows. Questions may surface around your girlhood versus womanhood qualities, making it a curious, explorative time where failure isn't really a concern and trying new things is more exciting than it is pressuring. The energy may feel like, I'm almost there, you know? It is a walk into your strength and power. It is a walk into the light, from the darkness to the light. All right, in that pink moon cycle. One question you can ask yourself here is, how can I celebrate all the progress that I've made so far? How can I celebrate all of the progress that I've made so far? It's really a time of acknowledging all that you've been through, taking stock of the tools that you have learned while in introspection, and getting ready to bring them outwards. pink moon cycle. Last but not least is the purple moon cycle. Mind you, ever since I've been looking at these things, when I first started to discover it, I was in a purple moon cycle. Then I was in the white moon cycle. And then now I'm in the red moon cycle. So it does shift. And just like the energy of the moon, just like the energy of life, just like the energy of nature itself, we shift too. We don't always stay in one place. We don't always stay in one energy. It's natural. Those who bleed between new moons find themselves in a purple moon cycle. So your blood will start more than 3 days before a new moon. The waning moon is what this is called, and it is when the moon is clearing or disappearing into a new moon phase. This makes it a very, very internal cycle, okay? Bleeding between these new moons is dark, it's going inside, it's tapping into the void, it is discovering things about the subconscious. It's a very internal cycle of reflection where one develops more inner knowledge and stability within. You start to stabilize what it is that you know about your intuition, or just stabilize in general about trusting your intuition. It is a time of transition in the opposite direction, just as the moon is going from full energy to strengthen, to relaxation, to rest. And so are you. This is not a good time for action. It is a time for rest. It is a time for exploration inside of the shadows and the subconscious, as I was saying. So you will go deeper into your darkness during this time. And a good question would be, what limiting beliefs or patterns are holding me back? You're going to spend some time here. You might even tap into some subconscious fears. Be willing to go deeper into them, all right? And inside of the Moon Cycles PDF download, you will also find information about menopause and moon cycling during that time too, because even though you're not bleeding, you're still a woman. You're still in tandem with the moon and the tides. That doesn't stop. That doesn't stop. All right, now if we can just get into the questions that were asked here. Someone asked me, what is your perspective on PMDD? I had to look that up. So PMDD is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It is a mood disorder. I wrote here moon disorder. It's a mood disorder which causes significant distress or impairment in menstruating women during the luteal phase of the menstrual cycle, which would be a severe form of PMS. PMS is premenstrual syndrome. Now, my perspective on this would be, it's more about an imbalance of the hormones, because if you really are interested in my perspective on this, I would tap into my perspective on mental health and how I came from a background of psychology and moved away from Western psychology because of this need to diagnose people and make them feel like they needed medication and they couldn't go within themselves to see what was going on. And it's not just, sometimes we do need help from other people, right? We might need somebody who performs hypnosis to help us go deeper into a childhood trauma to address why we have certain patterns. Or you might need, my perspective on mental health is going to leak deeply into my perspective on what this PMDD is. It's going to be an imbalance of hormones. Like I said before, my apologies for sounding repetitive, but it's like when you look at life itself and there are so many factors to consider. It's not just the mood thing. Like I said, we have to consider the hormones. What is the person eating? What are they interfering with? What kind of energies are going inside the womb that are causing this? Because it could be the womb calling for a purge, and the resistance for the person to purge the food, the people, the this, the that, could be why there's this disorder that's happening within the body and causing a person to be so irritable and causing all of these other physical and physiological and psychological symptoms. There is someone inside or something inside that is begging and pleading and screaming for something to detox, for something to change within. That's going to be my perspective. Even with having severe PMS symptoms before it gets to this diagnosis, right? Who gets to say what is and what isn't severe? What is the ideal for normal when we have these raging hormones that are always cycling every month? You understand? So when it comes to, I hope that answers the question on my perspective. I really have a different perspective on mental health in general, and I feel like a mood disorder really does tap into mental health. Yeah, it's going to be about what are the decisions that are here, and then going deeper inside the body, maybe trying some somatic practices to tap into what's really going on. What does the relationship with the mother look like, the grandmother? Is there any toxic masculinity that's tapping into the body? Because that had a lot to do with my PCOS diagnosis back in, back in the day. Once I got off birth control, started taking herbal remedies, started going within myself to see what was happening with my mother and allowing forgiveness, I started to get my cycle every single month, and I started to ovulate every single month. And really, when PCOS is, it's like your body isn't getting the cue to ovulate, so you're not getting your cycle on time, or you're not getting your cycle every month. Yeah, there's no push. They say it's a high testosterone, whatever. You asked me about PMDD. That's my perspective on it. There are other things screaming. There are other things screaming inside the body. What did they say? The squeaky wheel gets oiled. I think that's what a lot of disorders and diseases have to do with. Something inside the body that is telling you to pay attention to it and not to numb it. Why or when our body transitions into a different moon cycle? Part of me wants to answer this like, oh, because there are different times for everything. So your menstrual cycle is going to come to help you be in alignment with the cycle that you're in your life. So like I said, mine shifted from purple moon to white cycle to white moon to red moon. And when I see what the moon is associated with, when I see what that cycle is associated with, and I look at my life, I can see what happened. Like, wow. So my shift happened because a shift in my hormones happened. My cycle was late because it was some vitamins that I was taking that could have made it come late. And then some changes in my diet. I started to overeat. And I feel like, again, if I'm overeating in a cycle, and then my cycle was white moon, which had me in the creation of the earth and in that natural cycle of fertility and things like that, and I started to overeat and it affected my hormones, it's going to affect my fertility at that time. And then when it pushes me to the red moon, it's like, okay, how can you use the information that you learned about yourself and the things that you're doing in order to empower other people? How can you speak up more and push out information more about what you are going and growing through? And it could even gave me the different confidence, right? Because I wanted to tap into my hormones and shift it and be more conscious about what was going into my body and viewing my cycles of overeating and why that was happening, it's like I learned a lot and it gave me a lot more confidence about things. So instead of overeating, I'm now using my voice and using my creation and using my expression to help other people. And before, with the purple moon cycle, I was so deep into introspection and learning so much more about myself. And once I did some deep learning and deep healing and uncovering, I was able to move into that white moon cycle, which is about being in a natural rhythm of fertility, being in a natural rhythm of the earth, and kind of like, going introspective when it was the new moon. And when it was that ovulation time of just high energy and mingling, it put me there. Like, I wasn't able really in that purple moon cycle to be mingling with people and talking to people. I remember that really being a dark period of time for me where I wasn't really contacting my friends so much, and I wasn't really comfortable with talking on the phone and all of that. It just wasn't that type of time. Once I moved into the white moon cycle, it was that type of time where I was like, okay, I'm starting to feel more like myself again. I'm starting to feel more comfortable in my being. So let me see what I'm saying. So when it shifts has a lot to do with what's happening with our bodies and what it's time for on the outside. Has a lot to do with what's happening in the body and when it's time to shift things. Now, I don't want to say that you can master a moon cycle, but I do know people who have been in like a red moon cycle or a white moon cycle for such a long time because they've had consistency within their hormones. So I will say that a hormone shift contributes to it, and then just a universal shift in what's happening in the world and like what God is calling you to do during that time. So I pray that answers your question. This feels so powerful. During this time, when I just looked at it, said 30-30. During this time, I've gotten so many chills. I felt like when I'm speaking, a part of me was like, wow, who's doing the talking? Because it's not me. Like, some part of me took a back seat while another part took the front row and was like, I'm steering this now. I'm driving this now. I got this. I'm loving this. I'm loving this so much. Please remember that your flow optimizes life. My flow optimizes life. Menstrual, follicular, ovulation, luteal. And I just pray that you were able to learn something from this video about how you can start to navigate your menstrual cycle to be more, be more beneficial towards your life instead of being something that you feel like, it's coming again, because now you can plan for your menstrual cycle. You can eat certain things during different phases. You can look that up. And then I also know, just from seeing things on the internet and having someone have personal experience with it, that knowing your blood type even can help you navigate what you're supposed to eat and all of that. There's even a birth keeper. Her name is Hadija. I'm going to put her information in here too. She created a whole plan for how you're supposed to eat during postpartum. Like, it's like the food that we eat plays such a big part in things. Not even just the food, but the things that we digest and ingest during different phases of our life. And obviously postpartum is going to be after birth, but there are certain ways to eat while you're menstruating, something warm and filling and comforting. And then we start to crave these sugary things and during the luteal phase, because whatever, I'm getting off topic now. I'm just kind of ranting because I have fun with this topic, genuinely. If you have any further questions about anything that I've mentioned here, then please leave it in the comments. You can message me personally, either on Instagram. You can email me. I'm very responsive. My favorite thing to do is talk and chat and connect with people who have like minds, and especially curious people. Curious people are some of my favorites. I love you. Thank you so much for watching, and do not forget to download this wonderful moon cycle PDF that will be a guide to you as you learn more and go deeper into yourself. I love you. I love you. I love you.